Happy Monday, guys. Not a big fan of Mondays, but I did get you some footage today. I went and finished up a zoning job. I was converting a gas furnace and AC duct system into 2 zones, and I didn't get a lot of footage, but I think it's a good learning experience, and if you're not familiar with zoning, I think this video will help you. And I'm going to show you how I laid it out and some things you want to avoid. This particular system was a single stage furnace, single stage AC. So there's limitations that you'll have when you're adding zoning to these types of systems, because they're not really made for zoning. So you know, you're going to have to have some way of relieving the air pressure when only one zone's calling, and it's called a bypass. And I tend to try to find a place I can dump it, so I can call it a dump zone. But let me show you, I'm going to show over here on the whiteboard how I laid this out, and some things that you want to make sure that you do so you don't harm the equipment, and make sure that your customer is comfortable. So let's get over there. All right, so this is a typical layout that you want to do. I'm actually showing you the actual layout of this job, but this is what you kind of want to do when you have single stage equipment and you're going to add zoning to it. So this is what they had originally. They have a supply, 10, 14 supply, and a 12, and then they had it capped. And one thing they didn't do is they didn't extend the plenum out past the last duct. So I think this downstairs one, this 12-inch, was getting most of the air, and they weren't getting barely anything to this 14-inch that was going upstairs. So here's what I did. I extended this. I put a 5-foot piece of duct on the end of the existing trunk line, and I added a dump / bypass zone. So we have a 10 going down and a 12 going down. Those each got their own damper, and they're daisy chained together into the same zone on the zone panel. And then I got my 14 going up. So what I did with our dump bypass is, you know, this is their big TV room right up here. I went ahead and ran a supply register into that TV room, because he says they like it cool in there when they're watching TV anyway. So what I did, I actually put a volume damper on it as well, so they can adjust how much of that air they want to go into the room or actually go out into the attic. I noticed that when just the upstairs was running, this wasn't even opening, so it's kind of a moot point, but it was opening a little bit. Excuse me. When just the downstairs was calling, so they're still going to get a little bleed by. So if he wants to shut this off a little bit more and have that just kind of disperse into the attic space, so be it. That's the way he can do it. But I think it's a real good way to do these. You know, be real cognizant of where that bypass air is dumping to, and just make sure that you are using practical methods to duct these, because otherwise you're going to have a noisy system, or you'll harm the equipment, like I said, or you'll have an unhappy customer, which is the worst. So let's get to the video. Okay guys, I didn't show you part 1 of this project, but we got a house we're converting into 2 zones with 3 dampers. So this one and this damper here are the downstairs, and then this big one here is the upstairs. I got a couple of 14 to 12 reducers I got to put on there. I just temped it the other day, last Thursday. And then I got my bypass there, which is going to have a Y on it, and then it's going to come down, and we're going to have a dump zone right here into this upstairs big room. Continue on, I'll show you how it looks. Alright guys, I cut out where our little dump register is going to go. So what's going to happen is this bypass is going to have a 1088Y on it. One's going to go into this, and I'm going to put a damper on it to an 8-inch. And then I'm going to have an 8-inch here that's going to be, it's just going to dump in this little attic space to relieve the pressure when the small zones are the only ones open. So I'll show you how it all looks when it's done. I'm going to go get this hole cut, get this register in, and we'll continue on. I got a bunch of insulating and stuff to do today. I got time. Not just working slow. It's Monday, and I'm smelling our vacation this weekend. Okay. Tired. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's get her in. All right, guys, I got boot lock slash plaster ground on all 4 sides. When I'm doing it by myself, this is how I do them. So when I put it through the wall, I'll just take some 1/2-inch zips and put a bunch on here so it can't pull off. And that allows me to screw from the other side of my grill and it won't come off. You know, in spite of actually framing it with wood, I can just do it this way. If my brother was here, I'd just put the bat wings on the 2 sides and have him hold it from the inside. Let's get her on. Alright guys, so as I was saying, the goal here is to have enough strength in all those 1/2-inch screws there. So when you're pushing your screw from the other side, I even got some on the long side too. You're pushing from the other side that you don't push this off of there and it sandwiches it in. Let's see if it works. Alright, let's see if this is going to work. Come on. Get my big head out of the way. Get out of there. Shit. I'm gonna have to adjust that. Even my pen's gonna show. Damn it. And these won't. Okay. Do a little bit of adjusting here. All right, let's try this again. Like that. Same reveal off our dirty dog. There it is. She's even level. Alright guys, I got my elbow on there. I got my Y up here. So this is just going to blow into here whenever the bypass needs to open up, whenever our static pressure bypass needs to open up. And then we're going to have this run go into there. I'm going to put a manual damper on it so he can gauge how much air he wants to go between here or here, you know, because that room might get a little bit too cold or too warm and get too much air. So let's we're going to put a short piece of pipe here with a damper, and then we're going to have flex. We're just going to flex it over. Easy peasy. All right guys, there you have it. So he's got his handle here. He can adjust how much he wants to go into the room as opposed to out the dump zone in here. Got my flex all strapped up here. Got them all gooped up. That's mainly just so that elbow won't turn in here. I'll probably just leave this uninsulated, this little part here. I mean, we're all foamed in this attic space anyway. So it's I don't really care about this getting a little heat loss anyway, or heat gain if on this run, because we don't really need the air in there too much anyway. It's just a place to put it to give the system some relief. So I'm going to start insulating all this and start working my way back out. I still got to redo this and put those reducers on here, but yeah, once we get this all insulated, cleaned up, we're pretty much done. All right guys, not much video today because I wanted to get this done, but let me show you the finished product here. So you got your dump zone, which is basically 2 different little zones, but I have this dampered off, so this dumps into their TV room upstairs, so it's nice to have a little extra air, and he'll be able to determine how much air they want to go through there, and then the rest can just come out here up into this small attic space. I got everything all insulated, all nice, all cleaned up, looking good. So right now I have the downstairs calling. This one actually needs to go to the upstairs zone. So we need to switch it down at the panel. Screwed that up the other day, but we're looking good. I'm gonna get on out of here. Everything's all strapped up all nice. Button it up.